We make a sport out of success, and it's not just men, but we women as well. However, this often leads to problems. Today we'll be talking about what this is with Peter Szabo, a personal development coach. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation. So let's start by talking a little about success. What is it that motivates women? Why do we always want to meet every expectation?
Good day. Well, women are typically motivated by a desire to prove themselves in order to achieve success, which helps them earn the recognition and acceptance that most people are looking for in the world.
We have a lot of tasks ahead of us. Is this primarily what leads to the problem of always wanting to meet every expectation?
Well, yes. So we find it very hard to say no to things we don't really feel like doing, just so that we'll be accepted and to earn the recognition that we define as success.
Before our conversation, I can tell the viewers that we already talked a bit about this topic, and then of course it also came up that this usually shows up primarily in our personality. Very often we end up facing ourselves. What could be the solution in such cases?
Well, I think that the only universal solution to this question, to the problem we have with ourselves, is if we start to accept ourselves. And the way to do this is that when we look in the mirror, we simply say, I am good as I am, I love myself as I am, I accept myself as I am. When I, as a man, started doing this myself, it didn't go as easily as I'm talking about it now. Because there were times when I broke down in tears, times when I stomped my feet and studied. And when I talk to people about this, very often they say, oh, come on, do you really expect me to stand there and start telling myself that I love myself and that I'm good just the way I am? Because deep down, most of us think differently. But still, I suggest that we give it a try. And this is a very simple thing, so simple in fact that many people actually question its effectiveness because of that. But I can state with certainty that this really does bring about positive change in all of our lives. That imagine if we start doing it, it even brings about changes in the outside world if we begin to accept ourselves.
That sounds really easy, but what is the first step then? Do we have to stand in front of the mirror and talk to ourselves? Or how should we imagine this?
We actually already do this. So if you think about it, we all talk to ourselves when we look in the mirror. The only question is, what do we say? And this has consequences. If we don't now review this, if we don't pay attention to what we say to ourselves, it usually ends up being destructive. So typically we criticize ourselves, because of our appearance. Oh my God, look at my nose, Jesus, my belly is huge, and so on and so forth. Or it's because, once again, I didn't do my sit-ups, I still need to do the laundry, and at the same time, I should be spending time with my child, but instead I'm doing something else. So we are constantly talking to ourselves now. And a really good way to handle all of this is to first recognize what we are saying to ourselves when we look in the mirror, and then consciously start replacing those thoughts with sentences that will have a positive effect on our self-esteem in the future.
Can we say that women are at the top of the list? Are they the ones who primarily struggle with these kinds of self-esteem issues, or is it not possible to categorize it like that?
Well, I don't know of any such statistics. What I can say is that women are much more open to changing this state. And I think the reason behind this is that female energy, on some level, from within as well, makes it more justified to do something about it. So women are more open to admitting that for the moment they're not on good terms with themselves. Men, on the other hand, are macho. For them, there's no such thing as I don't love myself, or showing that to the outside world. And this kind of resistance is what causes them to be much less open to making changes in this area.
I introduced you as a personal development coach. Do people seek out your work? What do they get from you?
The good news is yes, and more people are. And I'm really happy about this because in recent years, I've noticed that more and more people are open to finding an environment where they can talk with like-minded people similar to themselves, and where they can counteract the negative influences in their surroundings. So basically, the expectation I notice here is that people want to receive confirmation that they're on the right path when they refuse to join the camp of complainers, to agree with and think like those who only see the trees and only see the holes, but instead they want to move in a direction where they can say, I am in control of my life and I can influence how I feel in my own skin.
You also have a book Please tell us a little about it.
Well, the title of the book is based on a personal story, because there was a period in my life when I wasn't so unconditionally optimistic either, but was actually very negative, and I lived in a state of self-loathing. So I was typically the kind of person who avoided places with mirrors because I simply couldn't stand to see myself. Honestly, I would have liked to spit at myself, excuse the expression. And when I managed to get from that state to the point where I can now talk about it and encourage everyone that they need to do this to sort out their relationship with themselves, then after that I put these thoughts down on paper, and I absolutely came to the conclusion that each of us is the only one standing in the way of achieving the life we desire.
What happens when we are already in harmony with ourselves? How can we maintain this state?
At this point, much less awareness is needed. Here, it's more about consciously avoiding negative influences. Gandhi had a very good saying, which goes, "I will not let anyone walk through my mind with their dirty feet." This means that whenever we are in the company of a positive person, it strengthens us. And in every situation where we are surrounded by complainers, we should step out of that environment.
As a closing thought, send a message to success-oriented perfectionist women.
Be yourselves and accept yourselves as you are. Don't try to please anyone. Live without compromises, only for your own happiness.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much as well.